Welcome back to Simplified Parenting with Emotionally Healthy Child Show. And I'm Suhasni, your host from Mommy Show Musings. Today, we are diving into a question many parents wrestle with. Should I allow my teen to use swear words? It's a common concern as teens push boundaries, and as parents, we want to guide them in a balanced and healthy way. So, let's break this down with a few key considerations. But before we get into the episode, if you guys haven't subscribed to my podcast, please do subscribe to my podcast show and give me a review or rating if possible, so that this podcast will reach to a lot of other users. And coming on to the podcast, in fact, if you ask me honestly, in not only teens, even young kids these days have started using curse words and F words very casually. Haven't you observed it? And the most important influencer for the kids these days, especially and also teens, is that of movies, music, and social media. Many popular movies and music genres contain swearing, and on social media, it's often used for humor, drama, or self expression. And kids see their favorite influencers and celebrities using swear words very casually, and it normalizes this language for them. That's the reason why this impact of using swearing words or cuss words goes beyond their immediate social circles, and it's something they are hearing and seeing everywhere. But we as parents are not comfortable with this, right? So we are not able to normalize these cuss words and we can't let our kids use them. So we get into a dilemma as to what should be our stance about the usage of cuss words by our kids. But before we get into this dilemma and address this dilemma, let us first try to understand why teens, especially, use these swearing words. As teens start exploring their independence, language becomes one of the tools they use for self expression. Swearing can feel empowering, and it lets them establish an identity and bond with peers and or even release some stress. For many teens, testing the boundaries of language is a part of navigating their social dynamics. So, to start with, as parents, we have to understand that our child is not using the swearing words or cuss words or even F words to disrespect us. Instead, we can follow these tips to make our teen understand the impact of using swear words and minimize it. The first and foremost thing we need to do is to minimize the impact of the media influences. We can explain that while certain language is used in entertainment or by celebrities, it doesn't mean it's always appropriate in daily life. Normalize conversations about media influence and encourage critical thinking. Ask questions like, why do you think that artists choose to use certain words in their song? Or how would that message feel if you used it in real life with friends or family? How do you feel if you are being targeted by using those swear words? This opens up their understanding of context and makes them more mindful of their own language. Next comes teaching the impact of these words. It's very essential to discuss the impact of these swearing words. Swearing might feel very casual on the movies or on social media or on music, in the music songs. But in real life, it will definitely carry social consequences, especially in settings like school or around younger kids. So, use this as a chance to talk about how swearing in certain situations can affect others' perceptions and even create unintended consequences. For example, swearing in front of a teacher or of a friend's parent might not leave the impression they want. When you openly discuss these impacts, you help your teen understand that words matter. They start to see swearing as a choice with consequences rather than just a habit. Next comes setting the boundaries on the context and also with the respect. In fact, as a parent, I prefer to define where and when swearing might be acceptable while having a discussion with my own child. And that's the safest option which most parents are also adopting. For instance, you could allow them to let off steam in private, but emphasize that swearing at family members or in disrespectful tones is not at all okay. Clear boundaries help teens understand that while you acknowledge their feelings and their need for expression, you also expect them to behave properly. So, real balance is a crucial key in managing or mitigating the usage of swear words by your teens. Next comes modeling, giving them the alternatives to swearing. Now, teens learn a lot from watching us. If you want your teen to know there are other ways to handle frustration or express excitement, be that example. You don't need to avoid all swearing, but modeling alternative expressions like sh, something like that when you're angry or overwhelmed can be a powerful tool. For example, when I'm really frustrated, instead of using shit, I use show. Something like that. You can invent on your own, isn't it? Show them how to pause, breathe, or even just use different language to manage strong emotions. These moments can teach them valuable skills in self regulation. Lastly, it comes to building open communication and the connected bridge with your teen. One of the best things you can do is to keep an open dialogue. If you choose to allow swearing within limits, talk with your teen about why they feel drawn to use those words. This can lead to rich conversations about emotion, self expression, and even responsibility. So that's all, my dear friends. To sum it up, allowing swearing with some respectful boundaries can be a middle ground. It acknowledges your teens' need to express themselves and gives you a chance to teach them about context, respect, and the impact of words, both in personal life and even under media influence. As I always tell you guys, every family is different and you know your teen best. What matters most is finding that balance where they feel heard and you feel respected. So, thank you for joining me on Simplified Parenting with Emotionally Healthy Child podcast show, my dear friends. If you find this episode helpful, please share it with other parents or leave a comment with your thoughts on teens and their swearing habits. Until next time, keep those lines of communication open and remember every conversation with your teen brings you closer to understanding each other. Take care of yourself first and also of your children. Keep smiling. Enjoy your life. Bye bye. Till then.